Friends, last week I described all the things we've been learning about as like ingredients to a cake. Each new event or topic is one more ingredient that leads to the final product, the Civil War. I asked you guys if you could think of any other ways to describe this collection of events that leads to one outcome. You guys had some really good examples. One friend said like all of this was everything aligning perfectly to cause an eclipse. Someone described America as a Jenga tower, and with each new event, our country, this tower, is getting weaker and weaker until everything's gonna fall apart. A couple of you guys compared this concept to onions, because you know, it has layers.
Ooh, layers! Onions have layers.
And finally, my personal favorite, one friend compared all of this to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Each new movie built off of a previous conflict, and everything was escalating and getting more complicated until, finally... Today, we're finally talking about Southern secession. So you guys remember that during the 1860 election, a couple of Southern states didn't let their population vote for Lincoln. Lincoln was not even an option if you wanted to vote for him. He just wasn't on the ballot. So, when Lincoln won anyways, these southern states were kind of cranky. Now, of course, Lincoln getting elected as president wasn't the real issue here. The real reason these southern states were mad was because they thought their slaves might be taken from them. By the time that Abraham Lincoln formally took office in 1861, 7 states had seceded from America and formed their own country, the Confederate States of America. Eventually, by July of that year, 11 states total would break away from the Union. Now, when we say secede, that's just a fancy way of saying that one group is breaking away from another group. If you ever plan on breaking up with someone, I recommend that you write them a very formal letter where you say, "Listen, it's not me, it's you. I am formally seceding from our union." These southern states leaving the Union, it's essentially a messy breakup. And while they didn't send the United States government a string of long paragraph-sized texts, they did send them a breakup letter in the form of secession documents. South Carolina was the first state to go. In their Declaration of Secession, they wrote to the United States government that the main reason they were going was because Northerners have denounced as sinful as the institution of slavery. Georgia said, "The prohibition of slavery in the territories is the cardinal principle of this organization." Mississippi said that their biggest beef was that the North didn't approve of slavery. They said, "Our position is thoroughly identified with the institution of slavery, the greatest material interest of the world." You guys get the point here. These states are citing that the threat to slavery, whether real or imagined, is the reason they are breaking away. So, the South wants to make its own country, with its own rules and its own government. They called themselves a confederacy, which is a style of government in which the federal government, the central government, is relatively weak. Basically, in this form, these states all could pass their own laws, and they didn't need approval of other states or the central government to do it. The president of this confederation was Jefferson Davis. He was once the Secretary of War for President Franklin Pierce, and he was a senator from Mississippi. His vice president, Alexander Stephens, gave this big old pep rally in Savannah, Georgia, where his goal was to hype people up about this new confederacy. Specifically, he wanted to talk about the Confederacy's new constitution. He mentioned that in America's constitution, it said that all men were created equal. Well, he wanted to make it clear that the Confederate States would not have this same philosophy. He stated, "Our new government is founded on the exact opposite idea. Its foundations are laid. Its cornerstone rests upon the great truth that the Negro is not equal to the white man, that slavery, subordination to the superior race, is his natural and normal condition." Yikes. These are bold words from someone who looks like an old man and a baby, all at the same time. Anyway, you guys are seeing the point here. We now have the United States and the Confederate States. Now that we have both these sides, On Friday, we're going to learn about how these sides started fighting. That's right, we're going to learn about the first battle of the American Civil War. But until then, see you later, friends.